Hi everyone, Jessica here with the Graves Group at Keller Williams Portfolio. I am here at Esperanza. Esperanza is a beautiful master plan community in Boerne, Texas. And I'm here with Perry Homes. I'm here with Jimmy, so say hi to Jimmy. And we're gonna be talking about new homes, new construction, and what to expect and the experience of buying a new home. So Jimmy, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Jimmy Smith and I'm a sales professional with Perry Homes. I've been probably selling luxury items for nearly 20 years. I live here in the San Antonio area, mostly from Florida, came from Tampa, Florida. Nice. So I have a love for Texas, have a love for Florida, and I love exercising, working out, playing golf, and baseball.
Good, very good. So thank you for having us here so we can learn more about Perry Homes. So tell me a little bit about what makes Perry Homes stand out compared to the competition.
Sure, and there's really no short supply of builders out there. But you know, Perry Homes has a unique reputation of over 50 years of really building quality homes, quality luxury homes that are still affordable for most people. And so they've kind of built a reputation of not only quality, but the luxury and the look and the feel. And a lot of our customers who decide to choose Perry Homes are referred by those who have purchased Perry Homes because they understand that before and after the sale is such an important part of picking the right builder. So Perry usually is their builder of choice.
Okay, very good. With Perry Homes, compared to, let's say, a resale home, what kind of warranties, basically let's talk about that. What kind of warranties, guarantees, just that peace of mind should buyers expect when they're buying a new home?
So that's a great question because, you know, homes and let's say automobiles have some similarities. You know, in automobiles, it's inevitable that something's going to need a little loving from time to time. Mm-hmm. And it's not fun when you have to bring your car into the shop. So there's a lot of consumers out there who look at like a brand new car because of that warranty. Well, that's a lot of the reasons why people gravitate towards brand new homes. Mm-hmm. With a brand new home, you have a structural warranty. You have warranties on technology. And of course you have your warranty for anything that happens within the home. Mm-hmm. Most builders have about a 1-year warranty after the signing of the closing. Mm-hmm. Perry has the strongest warranty that I know of with a 2-year warranty, a 10-year structural warranty. And so it gives people peace of mind that when they buy the home that they love, that they don't have to worry about turning wrenches or fixing things, that Perry will take care of it. And we have people to come in here and fix it within hours of putting in your request. So people really do appreciate, homeowners appreciate the quickness and the attentiveness to building the house and fixing it should anything go wrong.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. So talk a little bit more about the 2-year, 10-year. So is 2-year, for example, electrical, plumbing, and then 10-year structural?
You got it.
Elaborate a little bit more on that.
Sure. Well, you know, anytime you build something new, just because you spent $300,000 or $3 million, mm-hmm. in theory, you would think, wow, I spent a whole bunch of money on something. Nothing should ever go wrong. But the real world that we know is there's always a little something that you might have to love on a little bit. Mm-hmm. Well, there's not a lot of people out there who want to have luxury items that feels like rolling up their sleeves and jumping under fixing baseboards or a plumbing situation. So, you know, they gravitate towards new homes and homes like Perry because number one, the amount of warranty claims that we have are very, very minimal. But number two, if there was something that needed to be fixed, if there was a crack in the baseboard, or if it started to warp, if the plumbing sprung a leak, if the lights are not working. I had one of my personal pet peeves is I love a fan whenever I'm sleeping, but I like my room dark, cold, and quiet.
Yeah.
And so if that fan's going tick, 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 I just can't sleep. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a fan that just won't stop making noise, we'll come back in there, fix it, or replace it. So little things like that give people the peace of mind that goes, you know what, this is a great decision. And if something happens to spin off center a little bit, Perry will take care of it.
Wow, that's amazing to hear, because sometimes I hear builders saying, sorry, you already signed on the dotted line, the problem is yours. So that's great to hear that about Perry.
And also at Perry too, and that's a good point, you're right, because you know, when a builder builds something, the more they have to go back in to fix or replace it, the more money it costs the builder. A lot of times, fixing it right the first time costs a whole lot less money than having to tear open a wall to fix it again once it's already built. So you want to make sure that you build a good quality house, right? Well, they're not exactly builders, what I mean. Builders are not exactly rushing out to let you know, hey, put in all your warranty claims because you got 3 weeks left, right? But at Perry, all of the sales professionals at Perry will make a courtesy call to our home buyers, you know, a month before their 2-year warranty ends, just to connect, touch base, and give them a reminder that this is their final 30 days. And then we give it an easy way to go on the website, put in warranty claims, and we'll be there to fix it as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Good to hear. Yeah, because 2 years can pass by really quickly, and it's so easy for a homeowner to forget. Oh yeah, you know, that flickering light that I just completely forgot to put in the claim, or it doesn't bother me, but a nice little reminder. So that's great. That's wonderful.
We had a claim come in not too long ago. A lot of the switches for the lights and the fans have one switch, and you can take it around the house. Well, they all have codes. We had a situation where there was a person across the street who actually had the same code for their fan as the one here. So every once in a while, when they would turn the light off, it would turn this one on. And so people thought there was ghosts in the house, but there was no ghost.
There was no ghost.
So, you know, it was a funny little story. They were like, I don't know why my fan's acting crazy. All it was one of those inconvenient things where
But you investigated.
We investigated
you
it.
Found out what it was, and it was
we swapped the codes. No more ghosts. All the ghosts are gone. Poltergeist handled.
Okay, very good. That is a great story. I haven't heard that one, so that's good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the buying process. So if a buyer comes through the door and let's say they see this beautiful model home and this is the layout they want, this is actually exactly what they're looking for, but you don't have one ready to go. They're going to have to build. So tell me a little bit about site location, and let's talk about the time it takes to build from the ground up.
Sure.
So just kind of run me through the whole build from the ground up process.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, building is a fun and exciting thing. It can also be a little stressful if you're not sure what's next. So having the right advocate, the right, you know, advisor, someone like myself to help kind of walk through the process really does turn a lot of brain damage into an actually nice, easy situation. But here's pretty much how the whole thing goes. We would offer you what's called a plat map, right? And it shows how the community looks and all the different little lots that have not been built on that are available. And you get to start by picking your site location. Now, you might want one where it's backed up to a cul-de-sac, or you might want one where you are around other people because you love the community. You might want one that has a backyard with nothing but trees because you don't want anyone to see into your back sliding glass window. Fair enough. So first you choose on what site you want. Then after that, we figure out the right floor plan. Do you want a 1 or 2 story floor plan, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms? And once we pick the right floor plan, then we move into design. And design's where you get to pick all the bells, buttons, knobs, and whistles for your home. Things like the door handles for your cabinets. Do you want stained, or would you prefer a color cabinet? How about your fireplace? Do you want a tub, or do you want one of those big jumbo tubs where you and your partner can get into? You know, all the intricacies of the home, you get to really make it your domain, your colors, you know, all the things that really reflect your personality and the things that your family would really love. And then through the process, we begin permitting, we begin building the foundation. And here at Perry, what we do, you know, a lot of people, I think people understand that not everything goes smooth 100% of the time. I don't think people get upset for the fact that happens. I think people get upset when there's no communication, when they're left in the dark, right? So one of the ways that Perry gets around that is that me and the project manager will call all my buyers every Monday, everyone who's building a house, and then we will give them a SITREP, a situation report on what is transpired over the last 7 days and what we can expect over the next 7 days. And we do that every single week until it's time to hand the keys over.
So even if not much has happened, you still give them a call and just let you know, hey, you know,
things are going as good,
yeah.
right? And it's not a very long phone call sometimes.
Right.
So to your point, sometimes it's, hey, nothing's really changed. Everything's kind of moving in the right direction. No major problems. Just want to touch base and let you know that things are running smoothly. We're all finished with the foundation now, and we're kind of working on the electrical and the plumbing, and that should be done in the next 2 weeks.
Right. How do you know your time frame, for example? So I have one client, she is building a new home and she's been told, oh, it should be done in September, maybe August. Actually, mid-June sounds about right. We're just like, okay, when is this happening?
Yeah.
And I get, supply chain issues. We understand that. I think, as an agent, I kind of set up the expectations for my clients so that they're not left in the dark. But at Perry Homes, typically, what is the time frame, and more or less how accurate is it? If obviously setting the correct expectations.
Yeah, and you nailed it. You're dead on. Very well said. There's a lot of things that could happen from inception all the way to the final walkthrough, right? And most of the things that happen tend to be, to your point, supply chain issues. Right now there's a lot of talk about tariffs, and will things change? Will we be able to get wood? We'll be able to get steel, things like that. Nothing's happened so far, but
right.
I can't speak to what's going to happen in 5 months from now. But that goes back to the point that we were just talking about on those weekly calls. If I put an order in for tile and it's coming from Italy, and it's going to now take 3 more weeks, well, that's a phone call that I need to make to the customer and say, hey, listen, everything's going fine except that tile that you really wanted, that designer tile. It looks like there's back order for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And so again, they know it's not a Perry problem. It's not a customer problem. It's not a Jimmy problem. Yeah. It's a manufacturer that's across the country, or across the world in this case, and they're just backed up a little bit, but production doesn't stop. We're going to keep working around it, and we'll have to go back and revisit it. But it's the communication line staying open that people appreciate. To answer your other question on how long does it take, I'd say from the time that we say yes and shake hands to the time I'm handing you keys, somewhere around 160 to maybe 180 days, 6 months-ish.
Okay.
And that includes the first 30 to 45 days is probably going to be permitting.
Right.
Getting the permits, right?
Getting the permits,
and,
yeah.
And some counties are very easy to deal with. Some counties are a nightmare to deal with, right? So permitting, it could be 1 week and got it already, or 45 days because, someone's taking a vacation or something. But including permitting, I'd say we're probably somewhere around, give or take, 6 months.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Nah.
That's a great time frame, and I think you're right. Just having that open communication, those weekly phone calls. We've been in situations where we haven't heard anything in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then we realized, there's some reason we haven't heard anything was because there was an issue. But as long as you have that open line of communication, we'll all be on the same page and everything is great. So it sounds like Perry Homes has a great system in place to keep customers happy and agents happy, and just getting to the closing table. So that's fantastic.
And I wish I could say we created some brand new innovative way to make people happy, but the truth is we're just being social. We're just kind of sharing with you. We're not keeping you in the dark. We're not keeping anything a secret. When I look back at things that people I've done business with and things didn't go right, I can always point back to lack of communication for my frustration.
Right.
I think that most people, I'm very confident that most people, and I'd say well over 90% of everyone out there understands that there's going to be some sort of little hiccup in the road, and they get that and they're okay with it. They just don't want to be in the dark for 2 months while they're wondering what's going on. And I think that's a fair request.
Right. Absolutely. Good. Okay, let's talk about inventory homes. And so I think some people out there don't know what an inventory home is. And so an inventory home are homes that are already built and ready to go and move-in ready. So let's discuss a little bit about inventory homes and what are the pros and of buying an inventory home, and what can a customer expect?
Yeah, great question. So there is a difference between inventory homes and a build, right? To your point, inventory and build homes are both built by Perry Homes. But there's a small change, the biggest one being the obvious, which is one has already been built and one has yet to be built. Now, the pros and cons of doing a build from the ground up is you get to pick the lot in the community that you want. You get to pick the door handles and the colors of the wood. You get to pick all the, whether or not this has a backsplash on it or what type of backsplash, the size of the toilet that you have, whether or not you want to have this color blind, that color blinds. Sometimes the windows themselves. I mean, you have a very intricate, hands-on approach to just about how that whole home is built. Okay, the con of building would be timeline, because sometimes their house is on the market, and a good realtor like you is going to be able to sell that home quicker than an average realtor.
Yeah.
Well, let's say that you sell the home in 3 weeks, and they've got 5 more months before I'm done building.
Yeah.
We might have to look at lease backs or a motel or something for a few months. So there's a small little con to it. The moons have to align there, right? And then, of course, with a build, the price point. If you're making this thing look like the Taj Mahal, the price starts to go a little higher, right? So it could be, for some people, price point could be a potential con.
Yeah.
Let's go the other way now. Let's do an inventory home. Okay, so the pro to an inventory home is the price, and here's what I mean by that. It's still gonna, let's say you have 2 homes and one's built and one's a build and the other is an inventory home, and they both look the exact same, have all the same features, floor plans, and let's say apples to apples here. They're both gonna cost, for easy math, let's say $1 million. Okay. The inventory home, that consumer didn't pick the colors. They didn't pick the lot. They didn't pick all the extra amenities. Doesn't mean they're gonna not like them. It just means that there's probably gonna be something in there that they go, I would have done a darker wood instead of a lighter wood if it was my personal thing, right? And then every single month that goes by that the home doesn't sell, Perry wants to initiate get that thing going, because we want to build more and more homes.
Right.
So sometimes Perry will give a discount on the homes or some sort of price incentive to move the home. They'll say, hey, we're gonna discount this home by $45,000. And so someone could buy that $1 million home, hypothetically, for $950,000 home. Yeah. Right? And you walk right into day one, $50,000 worth of equity. Unrealized equity.
Yeah.
And hey, me personally, I don't know about anybody out at home listening, but I could be a little colorblind for $50,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, you have your pros and cons, right? There's no discounts when it comes to building one, because you picked all the colors, things like that, right? And the home's not going to be sitting around for a while because you've already made a purchase.
Right.
An inventory home could be sitting there for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or maybe sometimes even longer. Right. So there could be some discounts there. So those are kind of the pros and the cons to building, pros and cons to doing inventory homes.
Right.
So it all depends what's best for the person. It all depends on timeline and where they're at in their lives.
Right. I personally like selling inventory homes because buyers can actually walk in and see the layouts. And some people have a hard time visualizing, what a floor plan looks like when they see it on paper. But when you walk into an inventory home, and you're right, it may not be the exact door handles or pulls that somebody would want to pick, but you can definitely see the layout of a home and what it feels like. And so sometimes I'll have a client that will look at an inventory home, love the layout, and say, you know what? I want it on a different lot, so I'm going to go ahead and build.
Happens all the time.
Happens too. That definitely happens too.
Good point.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up, and let's talk about any misconceptions or anything that you want to discuss from builders. I mean, there's a lot of talk out there. People say builders are the worst, or buying a home in 2025 isn't what it used to be. Don't buy a brand new home, buy a resale home. All that negative talk. So any misconceptions that you want to squash, or anything that you want to say, hey, we're not like those other builders that you see on TikTok with the crazy, inspections and everything is done wrong. So anything you want to talk about regarding Perry Homes and the misconceptions are out there with other builders?
I think that's a very interesting topic and a good one. We could probably do a podcast for 30 minutes just on that topic.
Just on that.
Most of the people listening to this are probably working class people. Maybe some of you guys have owned businesses yourself. Everyone listening to this have used a business in some regard in their life. And so when you look at cars, or you look at widgets, or you look at anything you're going to consume, there's probably no short supply of different manufacturers that make this or make that. Mm-hmm. But what separates one from the other is quality, customer experience, and in my personal opinion, how well does the seller take care of the buyer after the sale is made.
True.
And, I think that's where you stand head and shoulders above your competition. When you build things right, you open the lines of communication and you're there for people after they've already paid you.
Yeah.
Right. So, when it comes to builders in particular, I have heard the horror stories as well. And for a lot of you out there who feel like, I don't know if a brand new home is the right way to go, I could not hold it against you because there's enough stories out there to justify that point of view. All I can speak to is Perry Homes and the experience that my personal customers have. And I tell you, we make this entire process so much easier for everybody. And if you don't believe me, which you don't have to, feel free to go online and look at our reviews. Listen to what people are saying to us. Look at the Better Business Bureau. Talk to people who have owned Perry Homes and you decide for yourself. Don't believe a guy who works here. See for yourself. And I think that the proof is in the pudding that people are very, very excited and very happy building with a builder who's been around for 5 decades. Who has a long track record of history and can handle the situations that arise through up economies, down economies, through bad inventory, good inventory, through bad supply chain, good supply chain. A lot of people didn't make it through the 08 through 09 real estate market downturn.
Right.
A lot of people didn't make it in 11 and 12. A lot of people didn't make it, in the COVID years. We've been around for all of those folks and we're still standing strong and we are going nowhere.
Wow, very good. Thank you, Jimmy. I really appreciate you sitting down with us and discussing Perry Homes. I'm very excited. I want to buy a Perry home now. So thank you very much. And if you are interested in touring any of these beautiful properties here with Perry Homes, especially in Esperanza, give me a call and we can reach out to Jimmy and have a sit down and see what we can do for you. So thank you very much. Have a great day.